time. It just.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Checkdown on FTSN. I'm Bobby. That's Russ and Dave Stager. I don't know what it is, but on Friday nights, it works for On Deck. It works for Touchdown in Paradise. But whatever happens with the Checkdown, Russ, the internet goes to shit. But that's okay.
Max is bandwidth.
We're here.
Yeah. It's every Friday night. I mean, I was doing it on Tuesday, it was fine, and then Wednesday I was good, which is great because I'm by myself on Wednesday. So I'm like, I cut out. It's terrible. At least there's you two to pick it up, and then I do this, and Friday's just like goes to crap every time.
His internet's like, it's the weekend, bro. We're done.
Yeah, we're checked out. No
We're
check down, check out.
That's right. That's right. So Russ, man, you're working now. So let's see, how you doing, brother?
Good. I've been on vacation since the 7th, so back in California, visiting my family, seeing my new nephew who's 2 months.
Nice.
Very quiet because he is a little bit of a screamer, so couldn't do much. He's a big boy. He's not even 2 months. He's almost 13 pounds, but he's gonna be a big sports guy. So we're expecting. I'm working to try to get his left hand going already, so he can be a left-handed pitcher.
There you go.
Start him early. Get that money. But I think he's going to be a big kid. But it's great, and nice weather, so can't complain, Bobby.
There you go, Stager. Man, how was your holiday? How was your Christmas, brother?
Christmas was great. Actually, my wife and I got to wake up for an hour, coffee. First kid didn't wake up till about 7:15, and then the baby had to wake up at 7:30, and then the oldest two, we actually had to go upstairs at 8:00 and wake up to go open presents. So we actually had a good Christmas morning, no screaming kids. So yeah, it was actually fairly good.
That's awesome, man. Same here. It was my kid did wake up early. He woke up like at 4 and saw it, but he knocked back out. So when my wife and I got up on our own for the first time in a long time at 9 a.m, we kind of got up and went like, oh man. So we got out of bed and saw him knocked out on the couch. And like my daughter came out and she's like, yeah, he was up. And so we ended up waking him back up, and then we woke up our youngest, and it was a good Christmas morning and just perfect weather for Christmas. It was beautiful. We got some nice pictures in. The kids got nice gifts from Santa. I got a couple nice gifts from the wife, and so it was a good Christmas. So, but plenty to talk about. NFL, we are closing in towards the end of the season. The playoffs are almost about set. There are still a lot of games to decide what the playoffs will look like. Teams that look like they were dead in the water are still alive, barely, but alive. We're gonna get into all of that and so much more. So as we move on, we'll get first to our main topics here. And I wanted to start off with Pete Carroll, former coach of the Seahawks, Super Bowl winning coach of the Seattle Seahawks, of course, former coach of the Patriots and the USC Trojans. He last year stepped down as the coach for Seattle, and he's still an advisor there. Many people thought he was just going to go ahead and retire. He's up there in age. But no, he is eyeing a return to the NFL. Specifically, reported is that he's looking at the Chicago Bears. Let me just say straight out, love Pete Carroll, love his energy, love him as a coach. Hated seeing him step down. I would love to see him on the sidelines again. I'm very, intrigued by a Bears pairing with Pete Carroll, especially Caleb Williams and company. I think there's other teams out there that could be better use for him. But the Bears, I get it. Young quarterback, young team. They invest a lot of money in that team. He might see some good options there. But Stager, start off with you, and Russ will follow up. Russ, of course, covers college football, Touchdown in Paradise. Dave, but starting with you, man, what do you think of Pete Carroll eyeing a return? Do you like it? And would you like to see a pairing between him and Chicago? And is there any other teams that could be looking at the coach?
So I actually like Pete Carroll in the NFL. I liked him in college. He's always been a rah-rah guy, but he meshes well with the locker rooms. He gets the most out of his players, and I think it's good for football to have Pete Carroll in as a
It's
head
me
coach.
again.
And
This pisses me off.
what, Pete Carroll or your Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Anyways, yeah, he is. The Bears are one of his teams he was eyeing because a lot of people wonder, like, oh, why the Bears? Why Caleb? So people forget he was at USC forever. That's where Caleb came from. So he still has a lot of ties to there. He talks to Lincoln Riley, so he's connected there. But another team that's quietly that has not fired their head coach yet, but is if they do, he's rumored to want in, is actually the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if they let go of Peterson, he's supposedly rumors are flying around he likes there. Tom Brady is actually a big backer from what I'm hearing on the Raiders to get him there as a new owner there. But the thing is, Pete hasn't said anything, I guess, to want to go there from what I'm hearing. It's Chicago, it's Jacksonville, and there's one mystery team out there that has not been named.
Interesting.
Yep. So it kind of leaves it up in the air on what he may do. He's got options. He's coveted because he's a Super Bowl winning head coach. I mean, look what he did for Geno before he left. Look what he did there. And everyone's like, oh, it was Shane Waldron. Well, Shane Waldron just got fired from Chicago because he couldn't turn around Caleb. And it's not that he couldn't turn around. He couldn't get him going as a rookie. So what better way to try and revive Trevor Lawrence's career? Bring him down to Jacksonville.
Russ?
Well, first off, I want to say sorry for the outburst there, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Lies.
Yeah, yeah. But every time it's this, for some reason the Wi-Fi doesn't like the show. But I mean, I'm down by the beach, so it is a little spotty down here. But I mean, I'm interested. That's very interesting. Everything Steger said, interesting. I mean, Super Bowl winning coach. And the USC ties are big. I grew up in Southern California during those USC days. So USC was, Pete Carroll was, you'd see him everywhere over the South Bay. He grew up lived like 10 minutes from me. So, I mean, I'm like, why isn't he intrigued by college football? Because if you look at SC when he was doing it, college football is basically what SC was in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't understand that. I mean, you can pay players now, which is a lot more easy. But I mean, I could see it. I could see, Pete Carroll's like a Jim Harbaugh to, older Jim Harbaugh. He likes to get out there and mix it up with the guys and be, so he's very appealing to that generation. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he wants to go to the Bears with a young quarterback, but I mean, he did it turned around Geno's career, found Russell Wilson and made him into what he was. So I could see that too. But if the Jacksonville to turn around Lawrence, a guy who had such high hopes going in, that would be an unbelievable hire. And you didn't mention the one team he did coach. He did coach with the Jets too.
That's right. That's right.
He ain't going there.
No, he coached with them. He coached them. That's true. I've heard.
He coached there, but it's just the whole from what I'm hearing, he's not going there because remember last time an ego type personality with Russ kind of formed, and
yeah.
Him and Russ didn't mesh. One of them had to go, and Russ got moved. So it's just him and Rodgers would not mesh.
No. I'm saying he coached with the Jets.
Oh yeah.
He coached in the 90s.
Oh yeah, I know that.
We got about a minute, but I want to ask both of you guys very quick because I think Russ just brought up a great point. I did think of this as well. Could it be? I mean, would it make sense for him to return to college football? Kind of like follow Bill Belichick because he obviously did very well there. But now, he has obviously he's been in the pros, he's coached the pros, he knows how it's done. Mm-hmm. Can he go back to college football where it's kind of now more with the NIL and so like for agency and can you see that possibly happening, or is it like no, straight up NFL, that's it?
I've been hearing most is NFL. I haven't heard anything about him going back to college. He's mainly wanting to stick at the professional level, from what I'm hearing. That's it. I mean, there was just a couple rumblings, but the Jacksonville and the Chicago, the teams that were named, those are the biggies. Vegas, like I said, they would like him, but if Antonio Pierce was let go, but it looks like Antonio might keep his job because a lot of players in the locker room are hammering the table for him.
And I'm hearing Vrabel possibly to the Raiders if Pierce is fired. I did see that.
Yes.
Which is intriguing. I'm sorry. We hear you. If that helps at all, you're freezing.
Yeah. I mean, it goes frozen on my side, so I'm like, I don't want to mess everybody else.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. We can hear you. So if you freeze up and if I don't hear you, I'll you'll bounce out and come back in. But
Russ,
we hear you. Don't worry about the frozen. Yeah. See, you see it. We can hear you, so you're good, bro. Don't worry about it.
I don't think the Checkdown likes being. I don't think FTSN likes me being on the other coast.
That's right. That's right. You need to get your ass back to Florida.
Yeah. Way to go, Russ.
Moving on. From one great coach, Super Bowl winning great coach, to another one. Talk about Andy Reid and his Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they did it again. They clinched the first seed in the AFC. Currently, this season, they are sitting at what's it? The hell's their record? It's
He said, "What the hell's their record?"
Wait, 14-1, 15-1.
Pretty good.
Pretty damn good. I mean, you have plenty of people around. You look at the Twitterverse and they keep helping them. But they find ways to win, and I mean that's what great teams do. And you can't deny that this is a great team. I mean, how many Super Bowls they have now with each other, and now the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC goes through Kansas City. So, Russ, I'll start with you, my man. What do you think of the Chiefs this season? And do you view them as a legit contender for the Super Bowl, or is this a team that could, even though it's the first seed, be a pretender in regards of like they're probably gonna get bounced in the division?
I mean, well, they're always a legit. You got Pat Mahomes, and that defense is nasty this year, so they're always a contender. I mean, I go into I'm like, oh, this is the week they're gonna lose, and every week they find a way to get it done. But I mean, I think the AFC for me seems pretty wide open. Baltimore could win it. I think Buffalo is probably their biggest competition, and even me being an Jets guy, AFC guy, I'm rooting for the Bills. I'm fine with the Bills winning. They know my pain and suffering, so I think that's the team that could take them out. But you can never count on Mahomes. Every year you think it's done, and he finds a way to get it done, and they're the best team in the AFC.
Stager?
I'll say this for the last 5 years. I've said it as always. Steve Spagnuolo, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. As long as you have those three, you are in Super Bowl contendership every year. And lo and behold, they're going to be back at it again. Yes, the AFC has a little bit stronger teams this year, but we got to see we got to see something out of Baltimore, because it's like every time they get in the playoffs lately, they just roll over. There's no fight to it anymore. And a team that might sneak in, I'm not saying they're gonna. They need a couple of things to happen. But my God, man, Joe Burrow's been on a tear. If the Bengals get in, that's going to be a hot team. But I don't know. It's hard to look past the Chiefs in the AFC. The Bills did beat them in the regular season, but we've seen plenty of other teams beat them in the regular season, like Jacksonville did. They went and faced them in the playoffs, and then Kansas City beat the crap out of them. So I can't say anybody else besides KC until I almost said KFC. Jesus Christ, I'm fat. But anyways, it's the whole. If you have those three, Steve Spagnuolo, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, you have those three.
Go ahead, Russ.
No, but I was wondering what's the Bengals' path to getting in. They
need like a couple things to happen, and they need to win out. It's a couple different things.
Yeah, we can get into it. We'll look it up. But with Kansas City, I agree with everything you guys are saying. Obviously, you look at what they've done this year. There were so many times where they just teased about, losing a game, or they look like, why the hell are you in this game? How are you allowing other teams to be in this game, where you start to go, damn, okay, I could understand why people would argue the point that, oh man, the Chiefs could get bounced in the playoffs pretty quick. But here's the thing, great teams find ways to win no matter how they win. Whether that's penalties, whatever, they take advantage and they win. The good thing about the Chiefs that when we talk about the Chiefs, a lot of people talk about the Chiefs. You talk about Andy Reid, you talk about Pat Mahomes. It's the off Travis Kelce. But you guys both brought it up, and I'm glad you did, because I've said it too. when you start talk about the Chiefs, yeah, those guys are obviously the epicenter. They're the foundation of that team. But it's the defense. The defense is what makes them so damn good and dangerous, and it's what won them the Super Bowl last year. It's what will probably get them back in it. I think the team that's the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs is possibly Buffalo, but again, the Chiefs, it's like whenever all they need to do is get in, and once they're in, it's locked in. So I'm with you guys. I think my daughter's obviously with me as well. Door wasn't locked. She came in and made her presence known. Forgive that. We're live. I don't care.
Never forgive that. Love kid noises.
Yes. So, but no, I think Kansas City is it's crazy to say, but they got a straight shot getting into the Super Bowl. Cincinnati, I agree. I mean, I don't know what their path is, but if that is a team that if they were to get in, there's teams, there's some teams that could sneak in. Obviously the Colts are still trying to find a way to get in.
Richardson is questionable this week, by the way.
That's huge. That is huge, and it's even huge for
happy, Bobby.
Say what?
Your son's gonna be happy.
I know. I know. Kansas City. Well, the reason why, because we obviously know Miami's path. If Indianapolis loses just one game and Miami can win the two upcoming games, they're in. But that's the many paths. You get Miami. That's very late. But here's the difference. Like for instance, Miami gets in. It's not like Cincinnati. If Cincinnati gets in, you go, damn. Do you really want to face Cincinnati? Where a team like you go, okay, Miami's in. Yeah, Miami has some threats on offense or whatever, but if Miami's traveling to Buffalo or if Miami's traveling to Pittsburgh or if Miami's traveling to Kansas City, those teams are going, okay, you know what? Everybody takes every team seriously, and it's any given Sunday, but you probably feel better facing a Miami team than you do face a Cincinnati team. So, but there's a lot of avenues in, and it's just interesting. It's really all about matchups. I mean, a team that I think that's a bigger threat to Kansas City that might upset them is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is the team that I think is like the wild card in regards of that could pull off all these upsets and go on a run. They just been that all way. And I agree with Baltimore. I find as much as talented Baltimore is and Lamar Jackson is special, I don't take Baltimore seriously. Denver's another team that I think could be a team that could get in and shock the world and maybe not win it all, but definitely kick someone out that you didn't think was going to get kicked out. So it's going to be interesting. The Chiefs again. It's like we can never have it. It can never be what's that called? That word where parity. It's never. Oh, it's this year's going to be this team. Next year's going to be no. We had the Patriots. Now it's the Chiefs. It's like come on, but. It is what it is. At least I like the Chiefs better than I like the Patriots. Anyway, screw the Patriots. Talking about it, the NFL playoff hunt. It's on, guys. It is 2 weeks away until we finish this season. Kansas City and Baltimore both won their games. Houston is 9-7 right now. They're in the decline where Baltimore and Pittsburgh continue to do. And Kansas City continue to do their job. Seattle also won. They beat the Bears.
That was a horrible game last night. If anybody watched,
yeah, I didn't. I heard though.
It was bad.
So the current playoff chase right now is Kansas City, obviously locked in at number 1. Buffalo, which seemed like they could have taken that and ran with it. They dropped a couple games. They're 12-3 at the second seed. You got Baltimore at 11-5 at 3. Currently, the 4th seed is Houston. 10-6, 5th seed is Pittsburgh. Chargers at the 6th seed. Denver at the 7th seed. So currently, the playoff matchups would be in the AFC. Pittsburgh traveling to Houston. Chargers at Baltimore. Denver at Buffalo. So
the Chargers would be a fun matchup for Baltimore.
Absolutely.
Harbaugh versus Harbaugh again.
In the playoffs. That's blockbuster.
Well, that was that Thursday night game, which was a great game. Denver, LA, excuse me. Yes. The Chargers. I'm like, this is just the game not to place Buffalo in the first round.
Yeah. Yep. And but if you look at it, all these games, we all see who the favorites are supposed to be, or the home field teams. None of those teams look like that's a safe bet, because I could see Denver upsetting Buffalo, because Denver seems to be that type of team. And then Pittsburgh, I can't see Houston right now beating Pittsburgh. And then in the NFC, Detroit is in the first seed. I think they got that locked in. Am I right? I think that one's locked in as well.
No, actually, Minnesota. If Minnesota wins out,
that's true.
Minnesota could.
That's
the number one
crazy.
seed, and Detroit would go on the road.
That's crazy, because Minnesota is the 5th seed currently at 13-2. So Detroit currently in first place at this moment, 13-2. Philadelphia at the 2nd seed, 12-3. The 3rd seed at 9-6 is the Rams. The 4th seed is 8-7, the Atlanta Falcons, who just benched Kirk Cousins and will cut him.
Michael Penix, baby.
Hey, 5th seed. We just talked about Minnesota at 13-2. 11-4, the Green Bay Packers at 6.
Take it punch, baby.
And the Commanders at 10-5 in the 7th spot. So that's the one. That's the one that's where parity is. In the AFC, there's not much parity, because it's always the same. But in the NFC, there's a lot of like back and forth, and who's gonna. You just said it, man. Minnesota could jump Philly and Detroit get that number 1 seed if things work out in their favor. But you look at this. I mean, obviously Minnesota at Atlanta. If that was to go down, that's Minnesota. I can't see Atlanta. Packers at LA. That's going to be a fun game. And Washington at Philly, that is upset special, or could be, if that falls into place. So, man, it's just the playoffs. Obviously, when you got your team in, it's good because like my team's in. But when your team's not in, it's kind of less pressure, even though you want to see them in there. Because you're like, okay, now let's just play ball games. So, out of all these teams, or in the NFC and AFC, if it fell this way, which one would be your favorite matchup, Russ? I'll start with you. AFC, NFC, or let's say both of them. In the AFC wild card, what would you like to see? What you most excited, or how excited are you for a certain match? And in the NFC,
well, I do like if that 2-7. I do like that if it would be Chargers. Hardball would be exciting once again, and I think Jim or. They both can make some noise if we're really getting any given Sunday. One of them is going to win. So I love that rematch. NFC, I'm really high on the Vikings. I like that team. And side note, in 35 games with the Jets, Sam Darnold had 13 wins, and he's already 13 wins. Goes to show how good the Jets are at developing quarterbacks. But I'm excited to see that Vikings team. I think that'd be a good matchup. The NFC is just so loaded with some. I guess I would say the NFC North is pretty loaded.
It's just not fair, man. They're so damn good, all of them.
Yeah,
except for the Bears. Calm down.
No Bears. Yeah. Well, Bears. But the Bears though have even though they're not good, right? The 4-12. However, I mean, that they're a team to watch with coaching candidates. They could turn around next year, and you're gonna have a 4-team NFC North that's just balling out if they make the right decisions. What about you, Steger, man? Obviously, your Packers are currently sitting at the 6th seed, possibly could face the Rams. But what matchups in this NFC or AFC are you most looking forward to if it fell this way?
So the biggest matchup to me to watch is, that's 7 seed for Washington and Philly, having that possible NFC East right now, that rivalry, I feel like would be a biggie right now because, one, Jalen Hurts is currently out this week again with a concussion. And we all know concussions can roll on to more weeks. He didn't even practice this week. And usually if you can regain some what do you say? Some of your symptoms off, and you can at least get back in your rehab group. He wasn't even with that. He wasn't even out in the practice session for the media. Nothing. So that's something to watch going into the playoffs, because if the Eagles have Kenny Pickett rolling into there, I'm not saying they're gonna, but Look how long Tua's been kept out from concussions.
Yeah.
Well, Sam Shields, former Packers DB, had a concussion, was out 11 weeks, and then put on the IR. Didn't play us, and that was one concussion for the year. So it matters, but even with Jalen in there, I feel like Washington is such a scary team because they're young. They don't got nothing to lose, man. Like Jaden Daniels is already probably going to win Rookie of the Year. You've got freaking Scary Terry that's just a lightning bolt for touchdowns. And I feel like Washington can definitely be a scary team. And as Russ mentioned earlier, the matchup with Denver right now, if they get in, because Sean Payton has such playoff coaching prowess. And I feel like he has that experience. And Bo Nix, he's buying into the system. And when you have a defense that's doing really well, but the Harbaugh Bowl takes it for me, though. That'd be my biggie, is the Harbaugh Bowl, because John and Jim, they know how to win, and they've been to Super Bowls and they've been to national Jim's been to a national championship, won that, been to a Super Bowl as a head coach. Like, he knows what it takes. So if there's a team to upset the Chiefs, it's probably either the Chargers or the Ravens because of the coaching knowledge, especially against Andy Reid in the past. But NFC, man, there's Falcons scare me because, and not as a Packers fan, but just as a football fan, because now Michael Penix, as I just mentioned, there's not much tape on him. So now defensive coordinators are going to have to go into the playoffs against a guy that's mobile, has a very accurate arm, and is going to be getting better going into the next 2 weeks.
He can take the top off.
Darnell Mooney and Drake London's going to be scary with
that. That was me. Bobby was on our first episode last week, and he picked me. We both picked Penix as our Heisman pick.
Yeah.
I mean, and Penix, he doesn't even look like he sets his feet half the time, and he still throws a dime. I wanted the Jets to get him, but not wasting a high pick because that's not what we need. But I think he's going to be really good. Now, problem is that he's had 2 ACL injuries. So.
I'll let Steger answer this first. Steger, we got a Cat for Life in the house. Appreciate you, brother, always for tuning in. But he has a question, a fantasy question. Of course, OUS would be great for this, but we could do this. For fantasy football, who should he start? Bo Nix or Sam Darnold? Steger, very quickly, who's your answer? And then Russ, give your answer as well.
I'm going Bo Nix because Sam Darnold is facing the Packers defense, and they have been lighting the world on fire lately. And I believe Minnesota has an injury or two along the offensive line. And we know, Russ knows, when Darnold gets pressure on him, he makes some errant throws. So, and especially now with having guys like Xavier McKinney in the back end and Keyshawn Nixon who can pick off the ball. And Edgerrin Cooper, too, has been A-gap blitzing like crazy the last couple of games. I would go Bo Nix just because his numbers have been getting better and better. That's just me.
I'm rolling with Bo, too. That's just my answer. Russ, what do you think, Bo or Sam Darnold for Cat?
I would go Bo just solely based on they're playing the Bengals, which that's the like we even brought up, the Bengals in the postseason would be scary because of that offense, but the defense is atrocious.
Bingo.
There you go. All right, let's move on to Week 17 predictions. We're actually really good on time right now. Proud of us. We're there.
We get to talk more, Dad?
Yeah. I think that's our problem. We talk a lot, and so we always run over.
It's frozen when I look at the screen half the time. I can't tell if he's and if he's actually waiting to talk or if he's just.
He's good.
Half the time I'm muttering some words I don't.
Yeah, that's what I say. You'll know when he's frozen when you see him like this and you're hearing, "God damn it!" Oh, there he is. There he is. But anyway, okay, let's go ahead. Let's get into our Week 17 predictions. After we do that, we'll talk about where things stand in regards to the playoffs. After that, if anything changes in regards of seeding, we'll start off first though with the LA Chargers at New England. The Chargers are 9-6. They are 4-3 on the road, and they're facing the 3-12 Patriots, who are 1-5 at home. Russ, we'll start with you, my man. You got the Chargers or Patriots this week?
You know who I'm not going to Patriots. Got the Chargers.
I got you, brother. I'm with you. I got the Chargers too. Stager?
I'm taking the Chargers, but expect this to be a close game because there's one thing I'll give the Patriots is they've got a freaking good defense, man. They've got a good core talent there, and Mayo has the defense playing nice. I don't expect an upset, but I think the Patriots keep it closer than Harbaugh would like.
There you go. We just talking about it. We talked about Bo Nix and the Broncos taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Broncos 9-6. They're 4-4 on the road. Bengals are 2-5 at home. We just talked about Cincinnati being a possible dangerous team if they can't get in the playoffs, but I don't see Cincinnati winning this. I think Denver will win it. Stager, do you agree?
Yeah, I'm taking Denver, but expect this to be a shootout. I think Bo and Joe are going to sling it.
Okay. Russ?
I'm going Cincinnati.
Nice. Okay. Interesting.
I want a little chaos.
I love it.
I want some chaos in the last week of the season.
Okay, so remember that you picked Cincinnati at the end of this, so I'll change it to them to see if any kind of things change with this week in the playoff. But I have Denver. I'm putting Denver right there. I like that. Now you got the Arizona Cardinals who've been eliminated. They're 7-8, but they go to the Rams who are 9-6. They could play upset, but I don't see it. I think the Rams will beat the Cardinals at home. Russ, what do you think?
So this might bug Stanger a little bit, but I would be worried. Like I thought about this when he was talking about. I know that if the Packers play the Rams, they'd be favored but Matt Stafford in the playoffs, just watch out. But I got the Rams this week.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the Rams in the playoffs.
Well, when you got Puka and Cup.
Yeah, like I said, but their defense has holes. That's the problem, is their defense has holes. And if you can force Stafford, get a little eerie off his perch, it always works. But I'm taking the Rams. I don't think Arizona. I think you're going to see some guys maybe kind of take their foot off the gas, make some executive decisions, and maybe take some plays off, which obviously we don't like to see. But, yeah, I think the Rams win this probably by 10 points or more.
All right. Going on, we got the New York Football Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills. Jets 4-11 on the season. Again, 4-11 on the season. I'll say it one more time. 4-11 on the season. They've been eliminated for weeks now. They're 2-6 on the road. I'm talking with Russ.
I didn't get that record. What was it?
They're to 4-11.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, say one more. Do you want me to say 4-11?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Buffalo 12-3. They're 7-0 at home. Russ, I'll start with you. Do you see an upset here?
No. It's back home with my dad and my brother, and we're nut job Jets fans. I mean, it's clinically insane. And we're watching like the Jacksonville game, and we're like, well, we kind of want to lose, and then they start winning, and I'm like, I want them to lose. I want a better pick, but then once they start winning, you're like, oh, I'm back in it. I can't see them winning. Like I'm up and down now. Like Aaron Rodgers is, and I spoke to both of you guys. He's looking like Aaron Rodgers of the past. He's moving around. He's making those beautiful passes. So it's like, do I want him back next year if he's like this? Because the last couple of games he's been looking very good, but then also he's 42 next year. So, but I can't say. I mean, the Bills are my pick to win the AFC.
Okay. There you go. Stager?
I'm taking the Bills.
All right, we'll keep that short and sweet. Now you got the Tennessee Titans at Jacksonville. Snorefest alert. 2-6 on the road are the Tennessee Titans at 3-12, and facing the 3-12 Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 2-5. I'm gonna roll with Tennessee on this one. Dave.
Yeah. Oh God, Mac Jones versus Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. I'm like, God, it's like being at the Thanksgiving dinner table and either picking cranberry sauce or cream corn. Like you're the
cranberry sauce every day. Cream corn, hell no.
God, no, it's like the two dishes your aunt brings, and they're like, I made a homemade. I don't care. Yeah. You know what? Screw it. I'm calling a tie. 10-10.
Oh. Hey, it could happen.
This is that type of game. That's what I'm saying.
Russ,
I have no clue where I'm going on this. I know. I was gonna be tuned into this game for sure, but once he said, I was like, oh, Lawrence, and then I'm like, oh, he's been out. So
Yeah, that's right.
I guess I go Tennessee.
All right, that's how we all feel. I think we'll just roll with Tennessee. Well, Tennessee are, again, and Tennessee has been sneaking. They're bad, but they stay in these games for whatever reason. And I don't know. I think I trust Mason Rudolph a little more than Mac Jones. Moving on, you got the Carolina Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's 1-5 on the road. It's Carolina 4-11 on the season versus Tampa Bay. Quickly, Tampa Bay. Russ, what do you think?
Close the door.
Okay.
I got the Bucks. I got the Bucks in this game. I think they end up getting that NFC South. So I got the Bucks.
Dave?
Give me Carolina.
Ooh.
I think so.
Not a-
Carolina has played Tampa the last 2 years very tough. And I feel like Carolina has just been gaining steam. And Bryce is actually looking like the player that
He is.
out of
Shout out to
college.
Bryce Young. Yeah.
Yeah, hell of a turnaround. I like seeing it. Dave Canales looks good.
Yep.
As the play caller there, and the defense is starting to make plays, and Tampa's dinged up right now. So that's where I think Carolina sneaks in a win. It goes down, as always, with the Baker-led Bucks, goes down to the last snap, but I feel like Carolina pulls out a win here.
I mean, that'd be like Canales coming from Tampa Bay, just throw a shot in their heart there, keep them out of the playoffs.
Guess who knows that defense better than anyone, because he had to practice against it every single day.
It's a good pick. That's
Absolutely.
And I think what we saw Bryce is like, and I'm always of this is, don't be afraid to sit a guy right off the bat. Like, yeah, they started Bryce last year, but he sat him. Like, you look at Aaron Rodgers, he sat. Jordan Love, he sat. Yeah, I'm giving you your love. Right now. Pat Mahomes, they sat for a year and they learned. And the rushing these guys to start would be better giving them 8 to 10 games or a year to sit and learn a full NFL playbook. Because I'm a college football guy. The playbook is nowhere near where it is in the NFL.
There you go. Moving on, we got the Raiders at the Saints. I'm rolling with the Saints.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. Russ?
So another very must-watch game. I guess the Saints.
Is Derek Carr back for this?
I don't know.
Ooh.
I'm just picking the Saints because it's just, I don't know. I think the Raiders want to lose.
And they messed themselves up last week.
They did.
So this is my thing. If Derek Carr plays, then yes, the Saints. If they don't, and Spencer Rattler comes out and just looks horrid again, and Mad Max Crosby goes off, screw it. Another 6-3 win, Las Vegas.
Yeah, and Spencer Rattler. You were high on him last year, or
pissed me off because he's looked so bad.
And then like Bo Nix, it's like the reverse because it was like and I'm already starting to look at the draft stagger.
I made my crow, Bobby. You don't have to remind me.
I know. I just want to throw that out there to you, but I've already started. I've started working on the draft guide, so I'm gonna connect with you on that, dude. You guys, because we got On the Clock around the corner. You know how it is.
Shedeur Sanders, 3rd round pick.
That's actually my grade. My brother went off on me.
I
have a 3rd round grade. I have preference. I tell look. Because everybody goes, oh, what you look at? I know what everybody else is saying, and it's everybody else's preference.
He's riding his daddy's coattails.
What I watched 4 of those games, like just straight up play, like all his plays, and it's 3 games, and I just because I was like, I have to see what other people. I just don't see it. So we'll get into it on the clock once that comes out. But I'm happy I'm not alone. Anyway, so we're going with the Saints. Now you got the Cowboys at Philadelphia. Cowboys are 5-2 on the road, but Philly is 6-1. This could be an upset.
Cooper Rush versus Kenny Pickett. Jalen's out this week.
Ooh.
Stagger bomb.
I'm going to go Saquon. I'm rolling with Saquon Barkley. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Saquon. I like it.
Saquon.
Sounds like a weapon.
Stagger, are you going to call the upset?
Is it in Philly or is it in Dallas?
Philly.
Yeah, I'm going Philly.
All right. Russ?
Even though Dallas might keep it close, but I think
I would say maybe, They could, but now CD's out for the year, so no way.
That's a biggie.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm taking the Cowboys.
Russ bomb.
Yeah.
Russ bomb. There you go. Going on now. This is an interesting game because this is where it starts to with the Chargers, with the Broncos, both teams winning. That's huge for them. That cuts options for teams like the Colts and even the Dolphins, for those who are keeping score. But you got the Colts at the Giants. And Dave, you did say Richardson could be out. But again, Joe Flacco is still their backup, right? So that's the thing. So just looking very quick for me, and as much as a Dolphins fan, I would want Indy to lose one of these games. Just sucks they got to play Giants this week and then the Jacksonville Jags next week. So it's kind of like, but again, it doesn't matter because Miami has to do their job and they're going to Cleveland and they're going to the Jets in the cold. So, but anyway, 7-8 on the 7-8 on the season, 3-5 on the road, and New York has not won a game at home. They are 2-13, and we know they're chasing for one of those quarterbacks. That's where their eye on the prize is. I wish they had anybody other than Joe Flacco as their backup. But I'm going to roll with the Indianapolis Colts here for this week against the Giants. I think I would feel better about the Jags against the Colts because it's a divisional game. Jags could pull off an upset, be the spoilers, but that's not until week 18. But I think that the Colts will win this week against the Giants. Russ, what do you think?
Well, I mean, if we're going off a little stats here, the New York Yankees have won a game in New York longer than 60 days ago. It's been like 80 days for the Giants now. So, we're going the Colts.
Stager?
Yeah, I don't trust Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito. So, give me the cutlets, baby. No, I think, Joe Flacco. And Joe Flacco, he gets better in December, baby. Is it in New York?
It's in New York.
Oh, it's in the cold too? Yeah, Joe Flacco in the cold. Yeah, Joe in the cold. Look what we did with Cleveland last year.
Yeah. So next is the the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. Green Bay, of course, sitting at 11-4, taking on the 13-2 Vikings. Vikings are 7. Yes, they're 7-1 at home, where the Packers, though, are 5-2 on the road. Obviously, this is going to be a blockbuster matchup. This is a heavyweight fight, Russ. Who do you see who stands tall at the end?
Go and rip the Band-Aid off, you son of a bitch.
This is the game I'm actually going to be zoned in on. So I'm going with the Vikings. Sorry, Stanger. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it, but I want that last week chaos with Detroit. So I'm going with the Vikings. I root for Sam Darnold. So let's go Vikings.
I'm not picking Green Bay because of Jordan Love. I'm not picking Green Bay because of LaFleur. I'm not picking Green Bay because of Josh Jacobs. I'm picking Green Bay because of Toyota-thon. And if you haven't heard about it yet, Jordan Love when Toyota-thon is in effect, Jordan Love becomes Joe Montana. I don't know what it is, but Toyota-thon, it happens. The Packers win. So I'm picking the Packers because of Toyota-thon.
Yeah, I could have used him to play the second half last week for fantasy purpose.
Why when you're up 24-0?
Oh, because I needed Josh Jacobs. Has been like my workhorse all year in fantasy. He took the second half off.
When you're up 4 scores, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I understand it, but also I want $250. I want $250.
But no, you don't get to recite a man with a beard as a quote. You don't get to do that.
It doesn't look bad. It's all right.
It doesn't. No,
it's just you're not used to me without the beard.
You
even wrote on my nice family pictures. Merry Christmas. Grow Bobby's beard back. What Tati showed me.
You look like Evan's brother.
Oh.
Bobby's like, get the beard back. Get the beard.
We rubbed that shit out. Grow. No, just playing. The
Chia Pet.
I will. Yeah, I will. I'm rolling just for that too. I'm gonna add extra. I'm
go ahead. Go pick Minnesota. I dare you. Go ahead.
Minnesota, I think will win it 14-2. That point. So if Green Bay wins, Green Bay will we'll see here. They're at the
We'll
6th
go to
seed.
the 5th seed, I think, and then
Yeah.
the Minnesota will go to 6th if that happens.
Which is crazy because the Minnesota's record, but still. But if of course if the then we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Commanders. I do have the Commanders winning that one. I could
keep a game.
And if the Commanders win that, they will move up to the 6th seed. If Green Bay loses, Green Bay falls to the 7th seed, and Atlanta would fall out if they lose. Right now, at that time, where Tampa Bay would move up to the 4th seed, so kicking out Atlanta. But Steger, what do you think? Washington or Atlanta?
Is it in Atlanta or Washington?
It's in Washington.
And I can't say the cold affects Penix. He played in Washington.
He did.
State.
Yeah, Washington State.
No, Penix was Washington. Cam Ward was Washington State.
No, he played in the state of Washington.
I thought you were talking about like the Wildcats from Washington State. I'm like, no. I'm like, no, he played as no. Anyway,
but he did play. He did play in Indiana too, though. So
that is the most irrelevant fact ever. How dare you? I'd like to forget.
Come on, what's your answer?
Oh, God. Even though Atlanta has been on a roll and the defense has been getting better, I'm going to go with Washington because Jaden Daniels is just tearing it up, man. Like that guy just put 5 touchdowns on Philly's secondary, and that secondary is damn good. Not saying Atlanta's isn't bad or good, but I just think Washington, when Dan Quinn's got his guys rolling, I think they clinch it and they get in.
There you go. Russ?
Let's go the Falcons. A little chaos. Let's go Michael Penix.
So yeah, and if the Falcons win it, they stay at the 4th seed. Green Bay, if they they lose to Minnesota, they stay at the 6th seed. Washington will stay at the 7th seed. But if let's say if they win it, so everything stays the same. But if they lose and Washington wins, Green Bay will fall at 11-5. That's just so nuts to me. 11-5, Green Bay would go to the 7th seed. Tampa Bay would take over the 4th seed, and Washington would jump up to the 6th seed. Now you got the Detroit Lions at 13-2 taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners are a shell of themselves. Miami beat them last week.
Detroit.
That says enough right there.
Yeah,
Detroit.
It's Detroit. So, and if Detroit wins, of course they're still the number 1 seed. If they lose, Dave Steger brought it up earlier. If Minnesota was to lose to San Francisco in some way, some fashion, isn't San Francisco, it could happen. Minnesota would jump to the 1st seed at that point, which is wow. But we will move it there. And then, of course, the last game is the Dolphins at Cleveland. Cleveland Browns at 3-12. They are 2-5 at home. On the road, Miami is 2-5 on the road. They're 7-8, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. For Miami fans keeping track, if Indianapolis winning and Miami, if Miami loses just 1, they would be out. So I'm going to let the guys start this off. I'm going to let Steger start, then Russ, and then I will finish it. Steger, how do you see this game playing out?
So who's playing? Is it DTR or is it Jameis playing?
That's a great question. I thought it was
if
DTR.
DTR is playing, I'm taking Miami. If Jameis is playing, it's going to be a lot closer than people think because of the fact I don't trust Miami in cold games, but I trust them enough over DTR, just not Jameis. That's my biggest question.
So let's see if I could find this.
Hold on, I'm on it.
Okay. I will say this. I will say this. I think that's a great point. I think Jameis would make it a bigger game. I understand weather's coming into a factor. It's in Cleveland, the cold weather. What's the temperature? What's the if it's snowing or not? But feel.
That's where Winston's questionable.
Questionable.
Yeah.
Okay. So I
DTR Miami wins if it's Winston. Okay. I'm taking Cleveland.
Okay. I'll say this. I'm going to say this right now. Obviously, we'll see how this week plays out. Then we'll worry about next week. But I've always said I felt Miami was going to split the series with the Jets. I still feel like I'm more worried about the Jets right now going to next week than I do about the Browns, even though the Browns defense, I still got a lot of respect for them. So I'm with you with the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins could win this game. This could be a game where they go, oh, we won a cold weather game, and kind of take that off their back a little bit. But need to see it to believe it. But Russ, how do you see this playing out, brother?
I mean, I think both valid points. I think if Jameis plays, he could win and lose a game in a heartbeat, just being a gunslinger like them. Bobby, yeah,
oh baby,
yeah, eat the W. Bobby's son came in. He's like, we need the right off the bat before he
knows. My son knows what has to happen.
To lose. I'm like, I want to be like, yeah, you focus on. You got to beat the Browns this week. I'm going the Browns. I think I do agree if DTR plays, the Dolphins will win, but I can't pick the Dolphins. I'm going the Browns. I'm stick with my guns.
There you go. So, if since the Colts won, the Dolphins won, that means that track is still alive. But obviously, for Miami their hope is between the other two teams with the Chargers and the Broncos. Again, I know Steger brought up the Chargers game could be a lot closer. You look at the Bengals game with the Broncos. The Bengals defense is not a cakewalk, but still a lot easier. But again, Cincinnati's offense could upset Denver's defense. So there's multiple ways there there's a lot of teams that still could sneak in where you're like, how the hell did this happen? And when you look at something for a team as you look at the Minnesota Detroit race, with that if one loses, one jumps from the 5th seed to the 1 seed, they swap spots. That's like the nuts thing for Green Bay at 11-5 to fall to the 7th seed possibly. That's crazy. So it's a lot to go down. Go ahead, Steger.
Fun fact. I just read up. I was scrolling Twitter for any last second updates. Apparently 71% of the online tickets at Minnesota's U.S. Bank Stadium have been purchased by Packer fans.
Ooh, interesting.
Maybe a mini home game in Lambeau West.
That's right. So if the season falls the way we predicted here, let's see. Russ had it. Bengals winning earlier. I'm just touching that right now. If the Bengals were to beat the Broncos, the Broncos would fall at 9-7. But yeah, I know. Yeah, he wants it. He wants the world to burn. But anyway, guys, we appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all for watching the Checkdown with Dave Steger and Russ Morgan. Yeah, that's right. You finished. Yes,
we got through it.
We went through. Got through it. I'm Bobby Melendez. We appreciate you all. I will be back on tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern for Finn's Talk Today with Fish Tank Hank. He'll be live from Key West. And then I will be on for a special episode of No Holds Barred. We are doing our end-of-year award show for 2024. Who's your man's wrestler of the year? Who's your female wrestler of the year? Breakout star, match of the year, show of the year. We got it all. We're excited about doing that. I'll be dressed up.
R-Truth. Easiest.
There you go. R-Truth. Down for that. I think people are going a little too easy routes. Best show, WrestleMania. It's like, come on, man. But anyway. But yeah. Anyway, though. So, guys, we all appreciate you. Thank you all for joining us. We hope you all had a Merry Christmas and you have an amazing, Happy New Year. We'll see you next week.